I recreated Clash Royale with the most insane graphics ever. And not only that, but I'm only giving myself 1 week to complete this, which is crazy. I cannot begin to tell you how good this project turned out in the end. I didn't leave a single detail out. I made the whole arena, a massive crowd, and even animated everything. This was super ambitious, but the big twist is that if I don't finish this in this 1 week span, then I've set a little punishment for myself. But for now, we gotta get started on this project. Ugh. Okay, so if I'm gonna get this done in a week, I'm gonna need to plan out my steps. And I was able to sum this project up into 3 main categories: the stadium, the characters, and the animations. Yeah, this sounds simple, and some of it was, but things wouldn't come to be as smooth as you would think. While making this, I ran into a massive amount of problems, and the part that I thought would be the most fun soon turned into a nightmare. I think if I were to do this again, I would not have included this. Will I get this project done within a 7-day deadline? With no plan, no roadmap? Let's find out. I'm trying to think of how I want to make this look. If we take a look online, there's already videos out there that have done this. We got one video from Lens Graphics. It seems to be the only real remake of Clash Royale. The rest seem to be game remakes, so nothing over the top. Fire! But one thing to keep in mind is that SUPERCELL has already been making these high budget production animations, so there seems to be no real reason to remake Clash Royale. So why did I decide to spend all this time recreating Clash Royale alone? Well, to be honest with you, I have no idea. For day 1, I had to plan out my steps. I had no idea what I was gonna start with or how I wanted it to look. So at this point, I was kind of freestyling. So I quickly put together this incredible 7-day planner. Yeah, if this says anything about me, it's either that I've got everything under control or I'm just asking for disaster to happen. And I think it might be the second option. But usually things turn out good in the end, so I wasn't that worried. I started in Blender and made a beginning block out so I could get the scale and size of everything just right, because I don't want anything I make to turn out like this. Yeah, that's a baby dragon. No shame to the original content creator, I just don't think it looks very much like the original. But of course I'm talking about the stadium. So now that we've got this beautiful looking scene, I need to point out something to you guys. I don't know who designed the placement of these seats, but some of them are completely blocked from seeing anything. Everything past these middle seats just go crazy. But after 10 seconds of me contemplating why this could be, I just moved on to the next step, which would be the castles. And that was all for the first day. Day 2, I didn't have much time to spend, so I added the huge cup that sits in the stadium, and of course I had to flare it up with my own logo. But this actually does look pretty good. It's too bad because I think there's only one shot out of this whole project that actually shows the top side of the cup. Alright, day 3. This is where things really start to look sick. I'm finally able to add the details into the scene. I started with the castle roofs, giving them their brick texture, which after a few finicky moments, I was able to get them looking really good. And now it was time for me to start making the drapes that would provide shade for the crowd. I quickly scattered these ragged cloths all over the stands and added a modifier to give them the correct shape. Finally, I'm onto the texturing, and lucky for me, there aren't that many textures used in this scene. We see the same gold and concrete texture used plenty of times in this project. To end the day off, I made the sidewalk for troops, I guess if they want to take a break, which doesn't make sense for a battlefield. Like one moment you're fighting for your life, then the next moment you're taking a nice relaxing break on the sidelines. It kinda sounds like my basketball season, except I never actually left the bench. Day 4 was nothing special. I once again didn't spend that much time working, but I almost forgot to change one side of the stadium to red and the other to blue, which I definitely wouldn't hear the end of it in the comments if I didn't. I also took care of the other small details like the chains and made these poles with animations just good enough that from far away you won't notice anything. But in real life, yeah, a flag just doesn't wave like that. But from far away it looks great. And with that, the whole outer stadium was finished. So for day 5, I spent my time making the King and Princess Towers, which surprisingly looked really cool. I gave our King Tower his special cannon and added the gold path that leads to these towers. And by day 6, I was finished. I was a whole day early, or so I thought. You see guys, it looks really cool, but I'm afraid it just looks like every other remake. Like if we take a look at Lens Graphics video, they're basically the same thing. Mine's a little more cartoony, but I think I can do more. Yeah, so if you didn't know, my original intention was to make the stadium and show it to you guys, but I wasn't satisfied with how empty it felt. It's almost kind of eerie with the right music. I guess not. So if I take a look at Clash Royale Stadium, there's a whole crowd and of course, the troops fighting in the arena. So all I have to do is create a few characters and quickly animate them. Hey, yo! And if I'm lucky, I might be able to get this done on time. I was low on time on day 7 because I had other things to do, like touch grass. You thought. Once I focused in, I was grinding. I had less than 6 hours to complete this, so the pressure was on. I first made a list of what characters I was gonna make. When I started, I remembered that I had made a skeleton for my Clash of Clans videos, so thank goodness for that. I saved so much time and got a good character from it. And also what I did was I duplicated it and quickly shaped it into the giant skeleton. This was a massive time saver. I was looking on track, so I was very happy at this point. The second character I made was the Mini P.E.K.K.A, practically the most iconic character in Clash Royale, and I spent my time hard to make this look just like the original. And I didn't stop with these 3 characters. I also made the Minion, the Sparky, the Baby Dragon, Barbarian, everyone's least favorite card, the Mega Knight, the King, and the last card was supposed to be the Princess, but... Bruh, what in the world is that? Yeah, we're just not gonna put the Princess in. Pretend that never happened. As I was finishing the characters, time was quickly running out, and before we knew it, our time was up. If we look at our schedule, this is when I started, so did we make it in time? Yeah, not even close. We didn't even get to the Mini P.E.K.K.A on the final day. I might have spent an entire week just making the characters alone. I don't know why I decided to make so many. When I was making them, I wanted them to look as close to the original as possible. So I spent an overwhelming amount of time making tiny adjustments to the characters, which ended up slowing the process down so much. But this wasn't the only problem with the characters. I had to retopologize them, which simply means turning this high poly mesh into this low poly mesh. But I also had to rig and animate each of them. I turned what could have been a 1-week project into a 1-month project. And because of this, I now have to do my punishment. And what is that punishment? Well, when I was thinking about what I could do, I had to do something extreme. I needed to get this done on time. There was no way I was gonna let myself drag these projects out longer than they should be, leaving you guys waiting for so long that you forget about me. So I decided to give myself an extremely harsh punishment, something I wouldn't wish even against my worst enemy. I have to make a song.
What?
About Clash Royale. Okay, how hard is that? I may have oversold that a little, but come on. What other YouTuber puts make a song as a punishment? I've never sang or wrote lyrics to a big audience. I barely even listen to music while I work out. I'm basically becoming every famous YouTuber ever. I'll show you guys the final product later in this video. For now, I gotta show you how this failed 7-day challenge became a disaster. Because we already didn't make it in the allotted time I set, we technically now have all the time we want. So to make it up to you, I'm determined to make this the best Clash Royale remake ever. So I went back to my computer with a new sense of drive. I got right to animating and gave the skeleton and Mini P.E.K.K.A both a run animation, the Baby Dragon a fly animation, and the Mega Knight a jump animation. I even animated me, because I'm clearly the star of the show, right? There was a massive problem in this project, and it all came down from this next part. Do you see these empty bleachers? Well, there needs to be people sitting in them. The only problem is, there are so many seats. There's gotta be more than 1,000 people in this crowd. So because I knew this would be a huge problem, I made sure to go back and make the characters as optimized as possible, and I gave them all a cheer animation. From there, I risked it all and duplicated them one by one. And just like I thought would happen, my computer was slowing down bad. I had to make sure I was hiding each section that I wasn't working on so my computer wouldn't lag hard. This crowd would be the death of my computer because it was taking a whole 10 minutes per frame to render. And that wasn't the only problem with this. I've had this problem in the past where my computer has so many things to handle at once and it gives me this annoying system out of GPU sign, which means my computer's given up, so I'll have to manually reset the render and continue it where it stopped. The only problem with this is sometimes I render overnight, and of course if it stops overnight, there's no way for me to continue it because I'm sleeping. And did I also mention I added smoke and grass? Yeah, can we give a RIP computer in the comments? Let's hope this thing still works after this. But after 5 days of my computer rendering non-stop during the day and overnight, and a couple of prayers to the Lord, I was blessed to see that the final video looks amazing. So with all glory going to God for this project, let's see this final render. Guys, I think this is the best remake of Clash Royale in history so far. If this doesn't get me hired by SUPERCELL, then I might just have to apply to be their janitor or something. And the best part is, we've got a sweet new song to go with it. Man, I don't really wanna know. No way, no way. Yes, this is a real song. The link to it will be in the description. But if you thought this project was cool, I've also made Wii Sports with insane graphics and have some incredible video ideas coming up soon, so make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss out. For now, subscribe, goodbye. And I don't really wanna know. No way, no way. Just lost like 10 matches.